welcome to Matt Slime Sports. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been watching the NBA playoffs like crazy, and I'm getting this narrative, right? I'm seeing this old NBA versus the new NBA, and I feel like nobody's talking about it. So I wanted to take this video to really just talk about the narratives that you see. It's the old generation versus the new generation versus like this kind of middle generation that's aging. So I want to define them first. We got the little bros. We got Ant, Tyrese, and Thompson. And I mean Amen Thompson, not the other Thompson who's like 50. But these guys are like the little babies that are like lower 20s who are just trying to make the name for themselves right now. Then you got the unks like Giannis, Luka, and Jokic. These guys are like pushing 30 low-key, but they still got it in them. They're in their prime. They're still playing like crazy. And then we got the gramps like Kawhi, Bron, and Steph. Like, it's impressive how good they are considering like they get fed through a tube every day. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the narrative is clear. There's an old versus a new generation. And I'm kind of surprised not a lot of people are covering it. So I wanted to go game by game and discuss some of the narratives that I've been seeing. And let's start off with the Clippers versus the Nuggets. Now, the Clippers are what I like to describe as the unk team, right? Every year we got a team full of old men pretending to fit in. You know, Kawhi is on the team. He's still underrated, like, throughout his entire career, but he's definitely not who he used to be, which was what I would consider on par with prime Kobe. James Harden has been washed since COVID. Let's be honest, guys. He was like a beast on the Rockets, and then I don't want to talk about it, but he's washed. And you got Zubac, who got robbed of the MIP this year. He's a young and up-and-coming guy who I think deserves a lot more credit than he gets. I was watching a Kenny Beecham video and he was talking about how he really has improved his game and done every step to improve. And then you got the old guys, you know. I love Jokic. I think he's the greatest center of all time, and I think that's because he's revolutionizing teamwork and passing in the big man role. I don't like Shaq's gameplay because it's like, me big guy, me dunk. And it's so boring in my opinion. Like if I watch Shaq highlights, it's like, oh, what's he gonna do? But I watch Jokic, he's making behind the pack passes, he's going above his head. He even said in an interview that the way that he determines who to pass the ball to is by noise. He's listening to people. So then when you got the Clippers versus the Nuggets series, you got this super old team in the Clippers versus this unk team in the Nuggets. Go figure, the younger team is gonna win. You know, their knees don't pop every time they stand up. And then we got the next series, which is the Lakers versus the Wolves. Ant-Man, who everyone is calling the future, versus LeBron, who's like the old reliable. You know, he's consistent, LeBron is. Except for this series. LeBron looked out of it the entire series. I'm not saying there was like a lack of effort. I'm saying that he just can't do it anymore. Like he was still trying his hardest, but he's really being reduced to a 3-and-D guy, which isn't bad. It's just not the Bron we all know, you know? And then next, I want to talk about how Ant-Man just looked really good. He really stepped up. And I know some of the splits weren't great, but considering how far he's come, I think it's pretty impressive, especially in the playoffs, and how they're double teaming him. Because one thing people don't talk about is how when he gets double teamed now, he knows exactly where to go with the ball. At the beginning of the season, he was complaining, I'm 22 and I'm getting double teamed, but he really learned how to work past it. Then Austin Reeves really stepped up for the Lakers. He's part of this little bro generation, and he really stepped up. He was better than Luka, which is insane. Like from the eye test point of view. Because Luka looks really slow. He looked as old as LeBron, just sluggish and not fun to watch. Whereas when I watched the games, I was watching as a Wolves fan because they looked fun and alive, and I wish I was born in Minnesota just to say I got to see them in their prime, you know? Then you got the Pacers versus the Bucks. Giannis is a goddess through and through, and I don't understand how people are hating on him. He is carrying this Bucks team, which is full of old people. You got Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, and Kyle Kuzma, who are not getting any younger. And then you got Dame. Him leaving Portland was a terrible mistake, because now he's not a one-franchise guy, and he really just came to Milwaukee to tank his own reputation, which is hard to watch. But yeah, this team is surprisingly old, considering like how little talk that gets. It's almost as old as the Clippers. And then you got the Pacers, who are this young team led by Tyrese Halliburton, also extremely overhated. He's like the worst superstar, maybe besides Jason Tatum, but he's still a good player, you know? I think he deserved a spot on that Olympic team. Hot take, I think KD's playstyle has evolved from like needing baskets to making tough baskets. I think that the same thing happened to DeMar DeRozan when he was in Chicago. Whereas before, you know, you need a quick shot, you need somebody to do something, you get DeMar, you get KD to do that role. Now it's like, oh, KD and DeMar need their points, here's the ball, see what you can do. And that's why I think the Suns were eliminated from the playoff tournament. Just because those guys are going from unk to gramps right now, and it sucks to see. But going back to the Pacers-Bucks after that tangent, I think that it was clear that the Pacers were going to win just based off of their pace. Get it? Yeah, okay. So I think that their pace was just so much more energetic. I think that their big men were fighting for more rebounds. And besides Giannis, I don't really see anybody else fighting that hard to win the game. And then you got the Rockets and the Warriors, which as of right now hasn't ended, but the Warriors are ahead by like 20. So I'm pretty confident it's not going to end well for the Rockets. Now this one is an outlier because you have this young and fiery Rockets team, number 2 in the West, battling these old unks and gramps. Steph's still trying his best, and he's got a thumb injury, and he's still cooking these guys on the court. He's hitting behind the back layups like he's fresh out of kindergarten. It's insane. Then you got Jimmy Butler, who is a known playoff riser. Even when he's not putting up the raw numbers, he's still doing his best, and he's still playing good. At his old age, too. I remember Jimmy Butler being on the Bulls when I was in 3rd grade. I was playing Foursquare when Jimmy Butler got on the Bulls. So it's just impressive what he's been doing. And then I want to talk about how, yeah, they're both getting eliminated by the Thunder, but it's still impressive nonetheless. And I'm here for it. Like, this is a battle. Both of these teams want it. Steph knows he's not getting any younger. Thompson knows he's not getting any older. So they're just trying to make a name for themselves and prove it. And I am really fond of that. And if you look at the NBA playoffs as a whole, who are the top teams? You got the Cavs, the Celtics, the Thunder, and you got the Wolves. Now, out of those 4 teams, 3 of them are unk teams, right? You got the Cavs, who have like Donovan Mitchell, who is really good, Darius Garland, really good, upper 20s. Then you got the Celtics, Jason Tatum, who is a bit of a merchant, Jaylen Brown, who is very good, and some older guys like Kristaps Porzingis, but those guys are the ones that make the impact, And then you look at the OKC Thunder, Shai is like 27, and he's filled with a bunch of other kids, in my opinion. Because like Lou Dort is like 22 or something like that, crazy. Alex Caruso's old, but like he still plays like he's young, which is amazing. And it's just really impressive to see. And then you got the Wolves, which are just all young people. Like Julius Randle is maybe the oldest one there. But Naz Reid, energetic, Ant, energetic. I just love watching the Wolves because of how young and how passionate they are. But those are the top 4 teams in the playoffs. That's 3 unk teams, 1 little bro team, and 0 gramps teams. This to me signifies the end of an era where we're done with the days where, LeBron, Steph, KD, all of these guys dominate. And I know we said that a couple years ago, but this solidifies it as Steph is the only one not to be a first-round exit. So all in all, we're really missing out on the narrative that the new generation is here and it's coming, whether you like it or not. Anyway, that's all I got for you today, and I'll talk to y'all later.